I never expected that ordering dinner would end with flashing police lights and my neighbor in handcuffs. But that's exactly what happened after Sheila Watkins, the self-appointed ruler of our neighborhood HOA, decided my food deliveries were a personal affront to her authority. This all began about 3 months ago, shortly after I moved into Oakwood Estates. It's the kind of suburban development that looks staged for a brochure. Identical mailboxes, lawns trimmed to the same precise height, and neighbors who smile just enough to seem friendly without actually engaging. I work remotely as a software developer, which means long hours, tight deadlines, and a heavy reliance on food delivery. After one especially brutal coding sprint, I treated myself to a high-end steakhouse order. I tracked the delivery like usual and saw the notification, "Driver has arrived." 5 minutes passed. No knock, no doorbell. When I refreshed the app, I saw the delivery photo, my food sitting neatly on someone else's porch. I immediately called the driver. He sounded genuinely confused. "The lady said she was expecting it," he explained. "She even confirmed your name." That was my introduction to Sheila Watkins. She was in her early 60s with hair so perfectly highlighted it looked professionally shellacked. Her sharp, immovable bob looked more like a weapon than a hairstyle. As HOA president, she patrolled Oakwood Estates like it was a gated military installation. I recognized her teal front door from the photo and walked 3 houses down. When she opened the door, the smell of my steak flooded the air. "Excuse me," I said carefully. "I think my delivery was dropped off here by mistake." She didn't hesitate. "There's been no mistake," she replied sweetly. "The HOA strictly prohibits food deliveries after 6:00 p.m. on weekdays. It's outlined in Section 12.3. She smiled thinly. "As president, it's my duty to enforce those rules." I stared at her. "That was my dinner. I paid for it." "I've already disposed of it properly," she said calmly. "You'll receive a written notice tomorrow. Welcome to Oakwood Estates." And with that, she closed the door. I stood there, hungry, stunned, and out $75. Out of spite and desperation, I ordered a pizza. The next morning, a violation notice appeared in my mailbox, official letterhead, signature, everything. The cited rule didn't even exist in the bylaws I'd received at closing. I emailed the HOA board. Only automated replies came back. I let it go. One stolen meal wasn't worth starting a neighborhood war. But Sheila wasn't finished. Over the next several weeks, every delivery I ordered somehow ended up with her. Sometimes she told drivers they were parked illegally. Other times she claimed I had canceled the order. Once, she even pretended to be my wife. By the time I realized the pattern, I'd lost nearly $300 worth of food. That's when I installed a doorbell camera. I documented everything and filed formal complaints with the HOA board and management company. The board members were sympathetic, but afraid. One neighbor whispered that Sheila had ruled Oakwood Estates for nearly a decade. She once had a family's maple tree removed while they were on vacation. Another time, she fined parents daily until they erased chalk drawings their daughter made on their own driveway. No one challenged her. So I stopped playing fair. I placed an outrageous order from the most expensive French restaurant in town, over $520 worth of food and wine, Wagyu beef, truffle laced in trays, premium desserts. I wasn't buying dinner, I was setting a trap. I watched from my window as the delivery car entered the cul-de-sac. Right on schedule, Sheila emerged, intercepting the driver before he reached my house. "Community regulations require me to accept all deliveries," she declared smugly. The driver hesitated, then handed everything over. I didn't confront her. I called the police non-emergency line. "My neighbor has been stealing my deliveries," I said calmly. "Today's order was worth over $500. I have video evidence." 20 minutes later, 2 patrol cars arrived. Sheila answered the door with confidence until she saw the uniforms. She launched into a lecture about HOA authority. One officer approached me and asked for clarification. I showed him the bylaws, no delivery rule, then I showed him the footage. His expression hardened. When I told him the value of the order, he nodded and walked back to Sheila. Minutes later, she was in handcuffs. That evening, an officer returned to take my statement. "She's being charged with felony theft," he explained. "We found your entire order in her refrigerator, wine still unopened." Apparently, HOA titles don't grant confiscation rights. The neighborhood erupted. An emergency HOA meeting was called the next night. Residents packed the room. Story after story spilled out. When it was my turn, I said nothing, I just played the footage. The board voted unanimously to remove Sheila as president. A financial audit was announced. 2 days later, she knocked on my door. She looked different, smaller, her hair limp, her confidence gone. She handed me an envelope. "My attorney says I need to make restitution," she said quietly. I accepted it. "Was it worth it?" I asked. Her composure shattered. She spoke of reputation, licenses, fear. For the first time, she wasn't powerful, just desperate. "I just wanted to eat my dinner," I said. Then my phone chimed. "Excuse me," I smiled, "that's my lunch delivery." And this time, I knew it would reach my door.